Good evening, everybody. Gonna get signed into chat here. All right. Wait for this to load up just a minute. Hello, Kathy. Christine's coming in from Delaware. Welcome. Hey, Jessica. Eric, David, Rinster, Diane, Whitney, Lance, Dwayne, Kimberly, Steve. How's everybody doing tonight? Guys, I tell you what, I've been absolutely beat. I was kind of daydreaming today about going to bed at about 8:30 tonight and getting sleep, even though I haven't been doing lives. I've been busy, especially today. This week at work has been a whirlwind. We've literally went over about, 35 loans. Got them all ready to close, so it's been hectic. But yeah, a lot of news going on the past couple days that I haven't been able to talk on. So we're going to go over a little bit of it tonight. I kind of want to start tonight with reassuring some of you, because I know today was a big date that a lot of us bringing information to you have been kind of harping on and bringing up, and that was March 4th. So let's talk about March 4th. So March 4th was the day that the president, based on the original Constitution, would be inaugurated into office. And the thought was that that's the date that Trump would come in as the 19th president of the United States. So as far as I've heard today, nothing's happened. Now, the Democrats were afraid something was going to happen. Congress was afraid that something was going to happen. That's why they actually requested for an extended or heightened troop awareness and an extension of the military staying at the Capitol building. So what are they so afraid of? A few people on the internet talk about Trump coming back to presidency. If they knew they had it in the bag and they knew that Trump couldn't come back and take the presidency, why would they heighten the awareness of all of our troops that are around there, or claim that they have? So here's the deal. I've been saying all along in my videos, I don't like giving dates. I don't like being wrong. But looking at the clues and the evidence and the posts that we've seen, when I say post, Q posts that we've seen, March 4th was a pretty good waypoint. Okay, let's see what happens, right? Based on the clues. So what I'm seeing is a lot of people are losing faith because Trump didn't ride in on his white horse today and take back the presidency and get inaugurated. But here's the deal, folks. You've let that absolutely crush you without paying attention to the news and seeing what's actually going on, right? I mean, I know we're all frantically searching for new news and for what's going on for the day in politics and in, mainstream media and underground media. But there's a lot out there. So let's look at the big picture, all right? Let's look at what is going on and see what direction that points us, right? I mean, do we really think that we're all just going to have to deal with this for the next 2 to 4 years and soak in our misery and wait for Trump to run for office again? I really don't think so. And if we do, let me just start with the if, because I'm open-minded. And I like to think of every scenario so that we have a plan out, right? Let's say that we had to wait till 2020 for Trump to come back, or 2022, I'm sorry, for Trump to run for House Speaker or something of that nature. So the things that have still been going on as far as our government agencies with the arrest for, child sex traffickers and people that are, committing sex crimes against children has been unprecedented. Guys, the number of people going to jail or, going to prison on a daily basis for this stuff. Um, Sorry, I'm looking at chat. I feel Brad's um, inability to talk and look at chat at the same time, but I thought I saw something that piqued my interest. So, anyways, things are still going on. So let's look at a couple things real quick, okay? Just to open our eyes a little bit. So we all heard that the Democrats passed HR 1 bill that would change America's elections forever. Guys, they literally cheated their way into into office, and now they're protecting themselves. Okay, they're making it to where from here on out there will never be another chance that someone outside of our circle, outside of our way of thinking, and outside of our agenda is ever going to make it back into the White House. So what they're trying to do, and just to give a few points of this, I'm not going to read this whole article, but here's what the Democrats in the House just voted to do: legalize ballot harvesting, eliminate state voter ID laws. When I went to vote for President Trump, they actually requested my ID here in Kentucky, and I was really excited to see that happening. So what they're going to do now is eliminate that. So now you can be whoever you want to be when you go vote. You don't even have to prove that you're a citizen to go vote. Empower the federal government to draw district lines for the states. So now it's the federal government's prerogative as to what lines need to be drawn in what states to cut off certain demographics of people, certain political strongholds, and make those boundaries. Allow convicted felons to vote the minute they are released from prison. No questions asked. You could have murdered somebody. You could have committed a felony in any realm of the judicial system and still be able to vote as soon as you get out of prison. They want to expand the mail-in voting. We all saw how that went, right? It's the easiest way to stuff the ballot, I believe, that has ever been attempted, and that's exactly what happened this last election. They can print off however many thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of ballots from printing companies overseas. I've seen email traffic between Chinese printing companies and people here in the U.S. talking about printing off these ballots. So if we're going to expand the mail-in voting, then all those people that don't respond for a mail-in ballot and don't register to vote, well, hell, now you can just take a piece of paper and put their name on it and don't have to worry about whether or not they showed an ID and run that ballot, just like they did in this last election. Standardize same-day voter registration and force the disclosure of names of all citizens who donate to nonprofit organizations. It's just absolutely amazing to me how blatantly obvious it is that these people are trying to cover their tracks and protect what they think they've gotten, which is the White House and all of government. So let's talk about, that's kind of a Debbie Downer article to read, right? I mean, I believe, and I might be wrong, I haven't read on it, haven't had time to, but I believe that still has to go in front of the Senate, doesn't it? Pretty sure it does. May have passed the House, but the Senate's going to have to pass it. Yeah, isn't the HR one alone treasonous? You're dang skippy, it's treasonous. That's why I feel like we're kind of getting to a point, a tipping point, as Scott would say, but a tipping point in which you're going to have a whole lot of people. Yeah, there's a low hum on my mic because I've got a huge computer over here that's running triple fans, and it picks it up. And I've got my sensitivity turned up so that you can hear me and I don't have to talk real loud because my twins are sleeping. So I'm sorry about the buzz. Where was I? Again, I can't even glance over at chat without answering somebody's question. um, but anyways, so the point I'm getting to here, and I lost complete train of thought. That I had a little mini stroke. But let's talk about what our states are doing about it. And this isn't the only state. There's multiple states. Oklahoma House passed bill to let state declare Biden executive orders unconstitutional. This was on the 2nd, but there have been multiple states that are doing this, and they're starting to follow suit. Not to mention Texas, opening up their entire state for any business, and getting rid of the mask mandate. So, guys, listen, we're fighting back. Things are happening. Just because President Trump didn't come into office today on the 4th doesn't mean that the administration, the movement, the people are not making things happen. We're going to stand up, whether it be the people that does it, whether it starts with the states, whether it starts with President Trump coming in and being like, all y'all are going to jail, and we all get to see it, and here's why I was the winner of the presidency, and we're taking it back over. Whatever happens, let me promise you something. We're going to make sure that Trump's back in this office as patriots, as people with common sense in this country. If you see y'all have been on Facebook all day. I haven't been able to. But y'all see what's going on. It makes your blood boil, doesn't it? How many people's blood's got to boil until something breaks? So, regardless, this is going to get taken care of. So I don't care what anybody says about whether or not Trump's going to be back in office. Let me remind you, he's still got control of the military until the 20th. Okay? So, again, it's not on our timing. I've been saying that. This is God's timing. We can speculate. We can hypothesize about how this is going to work and go down and when it's going to happen. But here's the deal. If this doesn't get taken care of by Trump and the people surrounding him, we will. Don't worry about it. Okay? So, moving on, I want to talk about some of the migrants that showed up. They've been showing up. And just to give you an idea, this was today, of migrants showing up with Biden t-shirts on, kneeling, pretty much begging to be let into the country now that there's a new administration that wants to lax the immigration laws. When I say lax, I mean pretty much delete and just open our borders up. So, just reading a little bit of this. A large group of migrants were photographed Tuesday at the U.S.-Mexico border near California wearing t-shirts that urged President Joe Biden to let them into the country. The migrants were reportedly staging a protest at the San Isidro crossing point in Tijuana, Baja California, according to Spanish-language news outlet Chapin's USA. During the rally, they demanded that the new president keep his campaign promises to enact more lenient immigration policies. Men, women, children, and reportedly some entire families participated in the protest, while armed Border Patrol agents stood guard. Many of the immigrants were wearing t-shirts and carrying signs with Biden's campaign logo on display, along with the message, "Please let us in." Guys, there's already been news of COVID cases with these immigrants. And again, another way to scare us, okay? I saw news today. Oh, there's a new variant of COVID in the UK. Yeah, there's new variants of the cold, the common cold and the flu all the time. Um, Take it for what it is. I mean, I think this is really just the common cold or the flu, in my opinion. A little bit stronger, okay? The virus itself, I think it's deadly. Don't get me wrong. I'm not downplaying this virus, but I also think that um, the flu cases have dropped to nil, right? Because everything's COVID. It's got to be. Have you looked at the number of flu cases this year? I mean, they're literally almost non existent um, compared to COVID cases. So, what's COVID and what's the flu? So, talking about the migrants, I want to play this quick video for you. It's Dan Crenshaw. This was just posted about maybe 20 minutes ago. And I want y'all to take a listen at his heat of warning to these immigrants and what's going on.
It's the usual euphemisms to cover up their lies, right? It's not a crisis, it's a challenge. It's not a cage, it's a soft-sided structure. And look, this is the truth, and everybody needs to understand this. The Democrats and Joe Biden, they want more illegal immigrants crossing our border. They want this. Now, in the past, they always used to say, no, we want border security. It's just that we don't want Trump's big dumb wall. Well, we shouldn't believe them, because as soon as Joe Biden took office, he ripped up agreements with Mexico, the very agreements that were stopping this border crisis. He ripped up agreements with the Northern Triangle countries, ripped up those asylum agreements, and now everybody, and you can see in interviews, people coming in caravans to the U.S. as Biden was getting inaugurated saying, new president now, here we come. And this is exactly what happens. They've reinstituted the practice of catch and release. You guys were just playing that on your show. There's lines and lines of people, okay? They're just waiting to come in. You know who they're cutting in front of? Legal immigrants. Legal immigrants. My stepmother is a legal immigrant who waited years to come to this country. I have many, many friends who legally immigrated to this country. They did it the right way. And guess what? Here's what's even most infuriating about the COVID positive cases that you just mentioned. U.S. citizens have to get a negative test before coming into back into our country. This administration is prioritizing illegal immigrants over U.S. citizens. What immediately needs to happen is they need to reinstitute the migrant protection protocols, which is the Remain in Mexico policy. This single action by the Trump administration almost single-handedly dropped illegal crossings, because what it does, it says a portion of the illegal crossings on any given day gets sent right back to Mexico City, and if they're claiming asylum, and most of these asylum claims, let's be honest, are totally bogus. They're not being persecuted in any way that meets the standard for an asylum case. But it creates a disincentive to just cross, because they know they're going to have to be sent right back to Mexico. When you just say, hey, if you cross, well, we'll just give you a bus ticket anywhere you want, no matter what kind of COVID you have. Doesn't really matter. Of course, there's a massive incentive for thousands and thousands more people to come across, and they drag children with them. And guess what? Here's the worst part about this. This encourages child trafficking. A lot of times, I talk to a lot of border agents, they see these kids just recycled over and over again because these adults know all they need is a kid with them.
So, yeah, I saw a comment, more immigrants, more votes. And you're exactly right. Okay. There's only one reason that they would require us Americans to um, give a negative COVID test before entering the country as United States citizens, but yet they'll let migrants in no matter what their test shows, if they even have to be tested. They're just letting them in, literally, like you said, buying them a bus ticket, wherever you want to go, for more votes. That's why they're wearing damn Biden t-shirts, just so that they can get in. So I hope y'all understand that and what's going on with the immigration issues. Now, let's talk about some financial stuff. And this is a little bit longer video. And this is Glenn Beck with Blaze. And he's talking about how the government's trying to pretty much take control of all finances, like they haven't already. But just listen to what he has to say here, and then we're going to kind of wrap this up with a couple more slides and talk on a couple points.
Here's what's happening right now. Here's how masks and Dr. Seuss are the same story. They are intentional distractions. As long as you can keep the American people divided, arguing about Dr. Seuss and arguing over masks, you can do anything. And huge things are being done right now on a global level. And there is going to come a time when your best friend, or even you, if you decide not to pursue this line of thinking, you will say, when did this happen? Right now. And it has been happening, I believe, for at least 10 years. This is one of the best laid out plans I have ever seen. You want to talk about, star chambers or secret combinations. This is the textbook case of it, except they're not in hiding. They're right out in the open. We're just distracted and divided. The only hope we have is to come together and say, wait a minute, yeah, Dr. Seuss, whatever. What is it that you just did yesterday? Now, if we can come together on these things, we can stop it. I'm going to show you just one piece. Last night on my Wednesday night special, it is crucial, please, that you watch it. Somebody said to me last night, Glenn, I can't watch it. It's too depressing. What can we do? I'll tell you at the end of the hour exactly what you can do. And it is probably the most important thing you will ever do in your life. And it will change the course of your life and possibly change the course of your country, because it will change the course of your family's life. It is critical. And I'll give that to you in just a minute. Let me just go through what is happening on one part of the Great Reset. Banks have always been the helper for capitalism, but you have to understand capitalism is changing. It's no longer shareholder capitalism. It is stakeholder capitalism. And the stakeholders are the government, the companies, the CEOs, and you. You're a stakeholder, but you're not part of any of the decisions. Your government at the federal level is making all of the decisions in your name. That is exactly how they describe it. What? We're not leaving people out. The government is doing the decision, and it's an elected government. Uh-huh. And all of the people who are the stakeholder deciders, they're all going to be wildly wealthy. This is the biggest heist and the biggest cage ever constructed in global history. Last night, I showed you a lot of things, but I showed you the Paris Climate Accords. And why is that so important? What was the big deal? I mean, it was nothing. It was nothing. Well, I showed you last night, it wasn't the Paris Climate Accord that everybody was watching. It was the secondary meetings that were happening there. They were happening with the banks, the biggest banks around the world. 450 different banks got together. Now, American banks, I thought, were not involved at the beginning. I couldn't find Bank of America or Chase Manhattan that were there. And you still, up until recently, you couldn't find anything. And you would say, well, that's it because they're not involved, which I don't buy at all, and I have evidence of it now. But also, maybe they're in hiding because they don't want people thinking that they're taking their orders from the UN and climate activists. You might think, hey, I'm going to get my money out of Bank of America and Chase Manhattan and the 5 biggest banks in the country because they're in doing something that I don't agree with at all. That is my assumption of why they have stayed out of this for so long, but they haven't actually stayed out of it. What caught our eye was at this, meeting of the Paris Climate Accords was the Amalgamated Bank of the U.S. Now, what is that? The reason why this caught our eye is because it's the biggest union bank in the country. They're owned by Workers United, which is an affiliate of SEIU. You say SEIU to me, and I immediately know something is really wrong. Now, I mentioned last night's show that the World Bank and the UN were collaborating at a global level back at 2015, and the U.S. financial institutions were basically a no-show. But then we found that a private banking group in the Netherlands took their methodology and created a private organization called the Partnership for Carbon Accounting Financials, or PCAF. So this has come from a global organization, and then a private group says, oh, that's a great idea. We're going to do that. And so they do it. And that's where Amalgamated Bank comes in. They took their private model based off the UN Paris Accord Initiative and led the charge to begin implementation here in America. So it's a labor union and their bank doing this. Now, earlier this week, I told you that a friend of mine sent me something that they got from Merrill Lynch. Well, that friend of mine is Justin Haskins. And
thank you, Glenn.
You're welcome.
I'm glad to be your friend.
I love that. So tell me about what they got from Merrill Lynch.
Right.
Explain it.
So a coworker of mine logs into his Merrill Lynch account. Not a rich guy, just a regular guy. Got his 401k in Merrill Lynch, logs into his Merrill Lynch account, and up pops this really friendly, amazing notice that you've got your very own ESG score, your environment, social, and governance score. Scores in all three categories and an overall score. And unfortunately, my degenerate friend, 4.7 overall score out of 10. So not doing very well on the ESG scale.
This is akin to you getting a score. You think you have a score of maybe 700, for your credit score, and all of a sudden you find out that you have a score of 300. What are you going to be able to buy? How are you going to get a loan? Are you going to be able to buy a car, a house, or anything else? This credit score is going through the financial sector and the banks, and you'll understand why this is so bad here in a second. So when you get this, it is based on things from Merrill Lynch on the companies that you are buying. So if you want to buy stock and you think guns are going to be great and they're going to go up, they have a very low, what's called ESG score, environmental, social justice, and governance score. And so they have a very low rating, which means the banks are very unlikely to give them any money. So you can say, I really believe in this technology, but if it's not politically correct, it will have a low score. That will punish that company in financing. But you say, screw it, I believe in this company. You now get a low ESG score. And they say this is just to help you invest. But that's not what it is. That's the happy face. The other side of that is it's your score. So the bank now looks at you and says, well, you have an ESG score of 4. You're not playing along with the environment. You're not for social justice. How can I trust that you're going to do something that is worthwhile for this collective community? So now you don't get loans. Now, the overall score, you're going to be graded, and your risk to the bank is assessed based on things and services you buy. This is from their report. The things and services you buy. Well, are you a member of Blaze TV?
Ugh.
Are you?
I hope not.
Are you? Have you bought a gun recently? Have you done? Are you collected food storage? What are you talking about? Things and services that you buy. How much electricity you use. If you own a business, how much travel is involved? How much do your employees commute, or can they all work from home? How many buildings do you own? How many company vehicles are there? What do you invest in? Now, if you answer those incorrectly, you're going to be giving a very low score. Now, it's not going to affect me until you read their own documents at the bank. In their own disclosures, personal mortgages, commercial real estate, business loans, listed equity, energy finance, car loans, Every aspect of your life you will be cut out of. You won't be getting a car loan. This is just the beginning. Medicine is also going to be controlled by the federal government. If you don't play ball, if you're eating meat, I'm sorry, we can't give you that medicine. It is total control.
Sounds a lot like socialism to me. A whole hell of a lot like it. Like, too much like it. So I saw somebody say, all right, let's get something straight. Where did I see it? Somebody was talking about Nasara. I'm like, oh Lord, I thought we were going into Nasara. Something. Now we're talking about this. Whatever, you get my point. Here's the deal. I'm going back to the Corporation of America being dissolved here, but here's where I lie. All of this stuff that the federal government is trying to implement, just like this, your new credit score, right? That is literally going to control everything that you buy, that you can buy, that you can't buy. And it's based upon your social patterns. Like he says, whether or not you like like guns or firearms or support it, whether or not you buy the certain products that they want you to buy, it's all going to affect your buying power, your capability. But here's the deal. Again, it's been dissolved. Okay? Remember that Q tells us we're watching a movie. We're watching a show. And a lot of y'all may have seen my video earlier today. It's not my video, but the video that I found on Facebook of Fauci and his interview and how fake it was. Okay? And I've got that video up, but I actually have a little bit of a different thought process on it now. I don't think it's necessarily a mask. I think it's CGI. I think it's the entire face, and I'll explain it here in a moment, and I'll show you why I'm saying that. But here's what I'm getting to. Whether or not, and I do believe it is, the Corporation of America is dissolved, even if Trump doesn't come in with Nasara, okay? And I'm saying even if because I'm talking to those that have no faith right now whatsoever because they've lost it somehow. Even if Nasara isn't put into effect by President Trump, I heard somebody saying earlier that Simon and they said that he was at was it Switzerland, something like that today. Then I heard somebody say, oh, it was fake by X-22. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay? We have some time as patriots before we need to start panicking. Okay? And I think that if we don't see something at least by Easter, it's time for us to stand up. Okay? But either way, the American people aren't going to allow this. Understand that. There's too many of us. Look at how many people showed up and supported Trump at the Capitol. Look how many people show up to Trump's events everywhere he goes. The people will not take it, and we have been dormant, giving time for this to play out and see if it does before we make any rash decisions. Does that make sense? Okay, so if you think we all just got to sit here and soap over our tears and pity me while we watch our country go to shit, no, you don't. That's what you don't get. Okay, so I'm still not nervous about what's going on because it doesn't matter whether or not Trump comes and saves the day or not. The American people will save the day. That's a fact. You can take it to the bank. So don't worry about it. Let's look at the evidence. Let's look at what you're seeing with your own two eyes, what you're hearing and reading with your own research, and let's figure out where this is going. That's the whole point of this. You know, I just don't, yeah, I mean, somebody says, but it's going to cause a lot of bloodshed. Welcome to life. Welcome to revolution. Welcome to standing up for our country, and welcome to being responsible to be the one to shed that blood instead of relying on your military to do it. Do you love your country that much? I do. I'll die for my kids to prevent this stuff from happening in their future. It's not even a question. It's like asking, would you take a bullet for your kid? I wouldn't even think about it. So yeah, it'll be nasty if it comes to that. Sure. But history repeats itself. There will be a revolution in this country one way or another, whether it comes from us or whether it comes from Trump. There's going to be a revolution. So you can get out of your head that you've got to sit back on this for the next 2 to 4 years, because that ain't going to happen. I really don't think so. I know I'm not going to allow it to happen. So just to let you know and show and prove to you Biden's incapabilities of even dealing with day-to-day issues and questions on his actions, Fox News puts out that White House is protecting Biden by not scheduling press conferences. Very true. Why would you want to put that dude in front of a camera right now? Y'all saw that they cut the White House feed. The White House cut the feed whenever, and it was actually kind of amusing as to how he said it. But he goes, okay, I guess I can answer any questions anybody has or whatever I'm supposed to do, whatever y'all need me to do. That's his mindset in office. Whatever you need me to do. He's a puppet, okay? They won't even let him talk on national television. Not with any questions. Not with any questions that they haven't already put on paper and given to the reporters to ask, like, what flavor ice cream did you eat last night, Joe? They're not going to ask him anything hard, and they're not going to let him answer anything hard. And now the U.S. Capitol Police say that threats to Congress members are up 93%, and they request that extension of National Guard deployment in Washington. They didn't want that National Guard presence on June 6th or January 6th, whenever Trump offered it to him, the 10,000 that he was going to give them. But now they want to extend the stay as they give them metal shards, undercooked meat, rotten fruit, molded bread to eat. You think those men and women in uniform right there that are around that Capitol would support anybody that's willing to do that to them, or the people running that government there? That false government? No. Not a chance. Not a chance. Listen, I've been fed literal, I'm not going to say it again, I've already said it once tonight, I'm going to try and wash my mouth, dookie for food in the military. If you've never seen like large batch MRE eggs, it looked worse than that uncooked meat that had what looked like maggots coming out of it that soldier had. It looks just like it, okay? It looks like vomit. This is bad, okay? I made a comment yesterday about, are we really surprised, veteran friends, that they were given crap food? But once I saw the photos that I posted, yeah, that's you might as well just spit in their face. And after kicking them out to a cold parking garage with one outlet and no toilets, they just put the icing on the cake. So keep in mind where our military's minds are right now and where their loyalty lies. Okay, they've been treated really well for the last 4 years, and now they just got a complete 180 and got treated like a bag of dog turds. Okay, so don't worry about our military when it comes to who they're backing. Okay, I'm not. Now let's look at this video of Fauci, and here's what I noticed. And it might be hard to see it here, but go back and watch it. It's on my page. Multiple people have put up the actual interview that has a lot clearer video. But here's what I'm seeing, okay? At first, I was like, that's a mask. Like the bottom of it is literally flipping up as he's, moving his Adam's apple, and swallowing and making voice gestures. It's causing the silicone to actually flip up and separate from his neckline, his shirt line, and his tie. And it looks like there's a huge gap right here when it does, and it even flips upwards and outwards. It's what it looked like to me. But here's what I actually think this is. I don't think it's a mask. It looks a lot like a mask, but what I think it really is that deep fake stuff. CGI over the face. And what I think happened is there aren't a lot of video. Hopefully my computer doesn't restart because it just told me it was mandatory. So if it does, I'm sorry. But I think in the video, you start seeing the mask kind of move up away from his necktie. And I don't think there's many videos out there of him wearing anything but a suit and tie. So when they're taking the image that already exists from prior videos or whatever they're using, and they are pretty much putting it over the face of somebody else digitally while they speak, I think the like a boundary line of what they have recorded, it's going out of that boundary line. So you're seeing a blank black spot that looks like a huge gap under a flap of skin. So let's watch it. It's almost like the picture they have doesn't fit the whole area of where he is. And the closer I looked at it, playing it on the computer screen, you'll see that it's almost like the line of the CGI gets cut off because of where his tie was from other videos. Now that I look at it too, it still kind of looks like a mask. But ladies and gentlemen, that is not Dr. Fauci. If you look at a video of him or pictures of him, he is covered in wrinkles. This dude has not a wrinkle on his face. He looked like he dropped about 15 years of age. But you'll see that even there's a line.
What is that?
It's even coming down and overlapping his tie. That's digital, ladies and gentlemen. I do believe that's digital. That's not a mask. That's a digital overlay of his face. And what they have for reference does not fit there. It's almost like you can see it jumping up and down because it's trying to stay within these boundaries right here of the necktie. But it's like it can't scrub enough, or it doesn't have enough image there to cover up the area. It's not him, folks. I don't care what you say. That is not Dr. Fauci. A lot of people will say he's arrested already, and maybe he is. I don't know. And honestly, nobody is going to know without it being public knowledge for sure. Okay, so I'm not going to say he's arrested. I'm not going to say he's been put to death. I'm not going to say that he's in Gitmo. I don't know. But I can tell you one thing for sure. That's not him. Okay? I've seen Obama digitize out on TV. Wasn't him. They are fooling you. Okay? Maybe, but why? I mean, I don't have to give a why, right? I don't know all the answers. There's a lot of theory around it that he's already arrested. He's already in jail. I did see something interesting earlier, and dang it, I don't think I have it up. but it was looking at some of the coding within an article, and Dr. Fauci's name came up as being arrested in the source code. It mentioned him. So very possibly, that's pretty good evidence. But that's not him. Okay? So if you think it is, we can agree to disagree, but that just tells me and enforces my belief that there is so much going on covertly right now behind the scenes that you are not supposed to know about just yet until it becomes overt. Because imagine this, guys, just real quick. If they were arresting all these people, if they were saving children in the tunnels of the White House, if they were doing all these things, what do you think would happen if they just let it all out at once? Like, hey, and by the way, our troops surrounded the White House to keep out any foreign governments and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. We are destroying the tunnels for child sex trafficking and saving children out of there. So on, so on, so on, so on. Everything that's happened. This country would fall apart and be so divided and in civil war so fast, we wouldn't even know what we were fighting for. Okay? So there's optics. You're only allowed to see what they want you to see. And if they want you to think that these people are still around so that the left doesn't start freaking out and start throwing Molotov cocktails at cars passing by on the highway like they did all summer, then optics is important. So things are happening, people. I don't care if you feel down in the dumps, if you don't think anything's going to happen. Stuff's still happening, whether you think so or not. And I pray for you that you get relief or clarity on what it is that is giving you anxiety or causing you sleepless nights. Okay? I feel pretty comfortable about where this is going in the end game. I still feel like there's not a single way that Trump's going to allow this to happen, or that our military is going to allow this to happen, or that we the people are going to allow this to happen. It goes against every fiber of common sense. Now, trust me, there's a lot of people without common sense out there, but there's a lot of us with common sense, and we show up in numbers. So I hope that helped everybody tonight. I know it was a lot of what some may consider to be negative news, because we were kind of talking about what I believe to be the fake government's doing and everything else. But guys, rejoice. Children are being saved by the droves. Yeah, 150 in Tennessee yesterday. I mean, I'm seeing huge numbers of children being saved. I saw a bunch of, I forget what country it was somewhere over in Africa, that 300 children were rescued. There's no way they can play out this lie for too long. Okay, it's all going to come crashing down on them. And I hope it's not us that has to do it. I hope that Trump can come in and do this the legal way and the noble way and reclaim his seat as president. I believe he will. But just because it didn't happen today don't mean it won't happen, folks. I promise you that. So if you want to, bow with me. I know Brad's on, and I want to let everybody get over to Brad. And we'll just, Nigeria. That's where it was, Marty. Thank you. Nigeria, 300 children. So if you like, bow with me. We'll end in prayer real quick. Guys, again, you're going to have to bear with me. Today got really busy with the whole house thing, okay? We got our approval. So now it's time to start getting the dumpster called in, start getting some stuff done around the house. We got carpet coming in to get replaced in the house we're selling. We've got some work that's got to be done. So, guys, I'm going to be possibly MIA for a little bit. Okay, I've got a lot going on with work, a lot going on with moving into the new house, a lot with getting the stuff done to this house. And now it's crunch time. We've only got 2-3 weeks max. And I think we've got this house sold. So pretty excited about that. It's all going to work out in good timing. So if you will, bow with me. Dear God, we come to you tonight for clarification, for people to see the big picture, to not forget everything that's happened up until this point, so that they realize that there actually truly is a plan in place, and that the left and the wicked people in this world will not fool us over what they feel is our ball and chain, which is mainstream media and TV. We pray that you watch over those children that are being saved today, and for those that haven't been saved yet, we will work hard to, I promise. It's only in your name that we would push ourselves to find these children and to save them. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Sorry, guys, it was short. I want to get off here and let y'all get to Brad. Okay? So everybody have a great night. Hold the fork in line, please. Okay? Hold the line. Slap yourself if you got to. Pay attention to what's happened up until now. Nothing was coincidence, okay? If you're stuck on one date, I'm sorry. Okay? Keep your mind open. Realize that this is not on your time. It's not on my time. It's not on any of ours time. It's on God's time. It's on Trump's time. It's on his team's time. It's on the military's time. They're not going to allow this to stand. I promise. There's no way. They're decimating our republic, your children's rights, your children's future. They're killing our schools. They're killing our ability to provide our own power. So it's not going to last too much longer. So everybody have a great night. Love you all. Keep up with me on Facebook. I know I've been kind of slacking there too, but it's been busy. But I'm going to try and keep you up to date with news on there.